Inside the cool shadows of the ancient stonemason's workshop, the air hung heavy with the scent of pine oil and fine stone dust, dancing silently in sparse beams of sunlight. The only sound was the steady, hypnotic rhythm, clack, tap, clack, of the old master's wooden mallet against his iron chisel, a deliberate, timeless rhythm that seemed as old as the hills surrounding the rustic village. But today, that comforting rhythm was joined by a heavy, stifling silence stemming from the corner. There, the young apprentice, Thomas, sat slumped upon a rough, formless block of sandstone, staring blankly at the tools he had cast down in defeat. It was a picture of profound frustration. Thomas was stuck. And while the master seemed to draw music effortlessly from the stone, Thomas found only a cold, unyielding silence.
Suddenly, Thomas's frustration boiled over, shattering the workshop's peace. "I can't do this anymore," he argued, his voice echoing off the stone walls. "I see nothing in this block, nothing but an unyielding, cold rock that only shatters under my clumsy strikes." He confessed his deepest fear, that perhaps his own heart was made of the same stubborn stone. The old master paused his work, setting down his tools with deliberate calmness. He looked at the youth with eyes full of years and understanding. "You are not blind by nature, Thomas," he said softly. "You are blind because you insist on looking only with your eyes, rather than your soul. A masterpiece is never born in a rush to completion. It is patiently uncovered through listening and understanding." To illustrate his point, the master led Thomas through the dusty clutter to a finished relief hanging on the rough plaster wall. It was a majestic ibex, captured dynamically mid-leap, a piece Thomas had always revered as flawless. Yet under the focused light of an oil lamp, the master revealed a deep, untempered fissure running along the animal's flank. "But that's a flaw," Thomas whispered. The master nodded. "A major flaw in the original block. An earlier apprentice wanted to hammer it away, an act that surely would have shattered the entire sculpture." He explained that this supposed imperfection was not an error to be hidden, but a strength to be harnessed. The flaw itself had dictated the ibex's final, dynamic posture. It was a secret the stone would only share with a carver willing to listen, rather than dictate. Returning to his current work, a large relief of a sprawling, deep-rooted tree reaching toward a stylized sun, the master shared a different struggle. "This stone was perfect," he admitted, "yet the meaning was elusive. I spent fruitless days aggressively trying to force the concept of a profound tree of life. I only created a clumsy, soulless etching." He explained that he had been attempting to harvest fruit before planting the seeds. He had been forced to stop working entirely, stepping through the beautiful arched workshop door to truly walk the winding, unpaved village path. He observed how real roots clung tenaciously to dry earth, and how leaves turned specifically to catch the rising sun. "One cannot carve a story they have not first experienced," the master revealed. "True creativity requires integrating the world outside the workshop walls." Placing his own favored fine chisel and sturdy mallet into Thomas's hesitant hands, the master challenged him. "Do not create a masterpiece. Simply carve a single leaf, the leaf from the lightning-struck pine tree just outside the door." Thomas's first strike was clumsy, filled with the fear of breaking the stone. And consequently, that is exactly what happened. The delicate sandstone leaf fractured instantly, plunging the youth back into dejection. But the master did not offer comfort. Instead, he demanded, "Listen, why did it break?" Forced to truly study the grain of the stone and the texture of the unique lightning scorch, Thomas saw the truth. He put down the fine chisel and picked up a sturdier tool. This time, he approached the break with newfound understanding, integrating the natural crack into the very design of a resilient, beautiful leaf. As the sun rose higher, illuminating the distant fields visible through the workshop arch, Thomas returned to his seat next to the master. He was no longer stagnant, but moving with new purpose.
The steady, hypnotic rhythm now returned, but it was different. It was the sound of two carvers working in perfect unison. Clack, tap, clack, clack, tap, clack. A powerful, harmonious melody that resonated through the ancient space. The old master smiled softly as Thomas realized the truth. The lesson had never truly been about the stone. It was about the patience, the observation, and the integration required of the human spirit.
This timeless parable of the carver's workshop serves as a powerful reminder. When we feel stuck, stagnant, or blind to our purpose, we must look at our supposed flaws and stoppages not as defects, but as keys to our unique expression. Our difficult seasons are not endings, but required times for essential root building. We are urged to stop rushing, to listen deeply to our inner life, and to embrace the experience that transforms a cold block of time into a masterpiece of purpose. We all have a profound story within us, waiting to be uncovered, step by step. Which of the old carver's lessons resonated most with you today? Was it the utility of the flaw or the necessity of experience? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and please consider liking and subscribing for more parables aimed at the soul from Wisdom Injected. Peace and wisdom be with you.